This is President Obama, and he says, I am going to fix the economy. No kidding. It only grew at, according to the latest report, 1.7% in the second quarter. And the economy, according to the president, he says, just let me fix the taxes. I'll do what I promised you 2 years ago. Wendy.
Well, but conservatives say the president's plan is just more of the same, a tax increase with more government spending. Dale Hurd has that story.
The president made the offer at Amazon.com's Chattanooga warehouse. He'll agree to cut corporate taxes if the Republicans agree to more deficit spending to boost the economy.
I'm willing to work with Republicans on reforming our corporate tax code as long as we use the money from transitioning to a simpler tax system for a significant investment in creating middle-class jobs. That's the deal.
What the president calls investment in job creation really means spending more money the government doesn't have to try to kickstart the bad economy. Everything from money for job creation to community colleges. He dubbed it a grand bargain.
So I'm going to try offering something that serious people in both parties should be able to support.
But even before he spoke, Republicans dismissed the offer. Pennsylvania Senator Pat Toomey said, "This is part of the reason we have the slowest economic recovery since the Great Depression. We don't need more tax increases." Mr. Obama's so-called corporate tax cut closes so many tax loopholes, Republicans said it would hurt small businesses.
The tax hike it includes is going to dampen any boost business might otherwise get to help our economy.
The president also included a remark in his speech that sounded like more class warfare.
If we're going to give businesses a better deal, then we're also going to have to give workers a better deal, too.
The president also mocked the Keystone Pipeline, supported by Republicans, saying it would only create 50 new jobs. President Obama will continue to try to drum up support for his grand bargain, even if Republicans aren't buying it. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
You just wonder, is there no end to what goes on up there? He just doesn't seem to get it. And this economy, 1.7% is just pathetic. And that's the second quarter GDP number. That's pathetic.
That is terrible. That's terrible.
And he keeps assailing the rich and class warfare, and we've got to give a break to these people. But the way to do it, we've got to raise the taxes on everybody, and we've got to spend a lot more money on boondoggle projects, which we've had before. It is just ridiculous. And he just doesn't seem to get it, but he's the speechifier in chief, and he goes around making speeches, and this is one more of them. Well, folks, the government is ready to go after anyone it believes has leaked classified information. Lee Webb has that report from the CBNnews.com.
Pat, the successful case against Bradley Manning could help the government go after other people it believes leaked national security secrets to the media. Manning is the Army private involved in the largest leak of classified documents in U.S. history. A military judge found the 25-year-old intelligence analyst guilty of 19 charges, including theft, espionage, and computer fraud. He was acquitted of the most serious charge, aiding the enemy. That would have carried a mandatory life sentence. Manning admitted giving some 700,000 secret battlefield reports, cables, and videos to the WikiLeaks website. He said he didn't believe the information would harm troops in Afghanistan and Iraq or threaten our national security. Manning faces a maximum sentence of 136 years in prison. The case has ramifications now for NSA leaker Edward Snowden. Experts believe, Pat, that Snowden would face similar charges if he's brought back to the U.S.
You know, I think, Lee, the thing you ask yourself is, how does a kid like this, he's in his early 20s, and I think that one stripe means PFC. That's private first class. Is that what he was? He's a private first class?
So, yeah.
I mean, how does he get thousands of pages of classified documents? Who gives him authority over that stuff? I used to be in the military. I had a top secret clearance for where I was located, but it was closely guarded. I had the codes for the division, big deal. And that was highly classified. How in the world does this kid get all this information? So I think that's what the government needs to ask itself instead of punishing him. And Who did he hurt? Who was he supplying? I'm not a fan of this Assange, but nevertheless, it's WikiLeaks. But Snowden's a different matter. I think Snowden may have done the country a great service, and I hope we don't persecute him too much. Lee?
Pat, the government does not need a warrant to get cell phone records to track someone. A lower judge had ruled that cell phone data is constitutionally protected from intrusion and can only be acquired with a search warrant. But the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals overturned that ruling. It says authorities just need a basic court order instead of a more strict search warrant to follow the movements of suspects. The Fourth Amendment protects against unlawful search and seizure, but the court stated the Fourth Amendment protects only reasonable expectations of privacy. Peace talks between Israeli and Palestinian leaders will resume in 2 weeks. Secretary of State John Kerry says they have agreed to a 9-month deadline for coming to some sort of agreement, but both sides are deeply split on issues like dividing Jerusalem. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas wants to divide the city based on Jordanian occupation from 1949 until the 1967 Six-Day War. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Jerusalem will remain the eternal, undivided capital of the Jewish state. Well, it's been 9 months since one of the deadliest and most destructive hurricanes hit the Upper East Coast. A team called Mercy Chefs traveled to New York City in the wake of Superstorm Sandy to feed thousands. And this weekend, they headed back to the Big Apple to let those same people know they've not been forgotten. Ephraim Graham has the story.
A sound of celebration rises to the rooftops here on Manhattan's Lower East Side. And it's all coming from D Street, an area that saw its share of disaster when Hurricane Sandy hit back in October.
We're sitting right now in the shadow of the power plant that flooded in Manhattan and exploded and caused the blackout in Manhattan. This entire residential area that we're serving today was underwater.
Mercy Chefs served 60,000 meals in this area following the storm, and many of those volunteers are back, dishing up good food at this block party.
It's a celebration instead of a heartbreak, and getting to see the people in better spirits and in a better situation is really great. And normally when we come with Mercy Chefs, it's because something bad has happened or something terrible has happened, and we're offering condolences and trying to help things get better. But now things are better, and we get to share in that celebration with them.
Mercy Chefs volunteers partnered with several New York City churches to respond to the storm, and they joined them again for this celebration.
The important part to me is that they wanted to come back and serve this community. They could take their trucks anywhere in the country. I mean, they have enough gas and enough time, they could go anywhere they wanted, but they chose to come back here to help us throw this party, to continue to build on what we were able to do last year. That's remarkable to me.
Gary Wasco is a Regent University graduate and pastors Trinity Grace Church here in the East Village section of New York City.
I hope people were able to relax for a second. I think one of the things that comes with living on a street like Avenue D is you're never quite able to fully escape the reality of the circumstances of your life. And so I think having moments like this create that type of environment where we can all forget about the pressures or the pain or the frustration. We can sit back and relax and party, eat a good meal, you know, like the things that just enjoy life for a second.
And beyond that moment of relaxation, Mercy Chefs volunteers want these people to know they're not forgotten.
I hope that they realize that this is God through us and that we are serving Him by serving them.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News.
And following Superstorm Sandy, Mercy Chefs volunteers were on the ground at the East Village, as well as other areas of New York and New Jersey. Well, New York City's ban on big sodas is not moving forward. An appeals court has ruled against the city's efforts to cap the size of sodas. The ban would have stopped many restaurants from selling sugary drinks larger than 16 ounces. The 4-judge panel said the Board of Health had exceeded its legal authority by trying to place a size limit on soft drinks. Mayor Bloomberg says this is just a temporary setback in the fight against obesity. The city will appeal. Pat?
Oh, come on, Mayor Bloomberg. Don't be an old joy killer. People want to get fat in New York. Let them do it. Big gulp drinks.
I was happy that that's not going forward. I just think it's ridiculous.
Yes,
I mean, if you want to drink a 20-ounce soda, drink a 20-ounce soda.
But you wouldn't, would you?
I probably would not.
Neither would I.
Although I did have a Coke Saturday.
No, this is not no true confessions. Come on, you bare your soul. Bare your soul some
Once
other
a year.
Mea culpa. Look at poor Wendy. All right.
A jail sentence for the founder of a website in Saudi Arabia. A judge has ordered Raif Badawi to 7 years in prison plus 600 lashes. His crime? Encouraging Saudis to share their opinions about the role of religion in society. Saudi Arabia, of course, is ruled by strict Islamic law. Challenging Islam or its customs brings severe punishment. Clerics are especially critical of social media, and a spokesman for the State Department says the U.S. is deeply concerned about this sentence. The judge did drop the most serious charge of apostasy, which carries the death sentence in Saudi Arabia. Pentagon officials say they have no problem with pornographic magazines being sold on military installations. Morality in Media recently asked Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel to stop the sale of Penthouse, Playboy, and similar magazines. The group cited a federal law forbidding the sale of sexually explicit material on bases, but the Department of Defense says, quote, based on the totality of each magazine's content, they were not sexually explicit, according to the law's definition. You can always get the latest from CBN News by going to our website at cbnnews.com.